So I sat with the pain and I asked my womb, what is it that you're trying to tell me right now? And I listen, and out from my intuition, I have a message that says, hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, oh my God, how weird is this? I'm going to be talking about periods, and I'm about to pour a cup of red hibiscus, which was not planned. Can you see that nice colour? I love a cup of hibiscus. Me and my boyfriend have been really getting into like herbs and drinking teas and trying loads of different teas recently, and it has been so much fun. Actually, we started doing it like a few weeks ago, but we love hibiscus. It tastes so nice. A lot of the herbs like don't taste very good. They just have really good health benefits. But hibiscus is one that I love the taste of. So I've got a nice cup of organic hibiscus from Greenwich Market. But anyway, as I was saying, the thing that just came to mind that I want to talk about right now is the menstrual cycle. The cycle, our monthly cycle, and what comes to mind when I think about this is the fact that maybe before a year ago, I didn't even track my menstrual cycle. I didn't even know when I was going to be coming on. It was all just like a guessing game for me. It was like, I should be coming on soon, and then I'd be like in a really bad mood or like really irritated, and then I'd come on and be like, oh, that makes sense. This is why I was so upset this week. Anyway, I realised, or I read from a few different places, I feel like sometimes when the universe is like, when you're like ready to learn something, sometimes the universe just sends you like lots of signs. So let me know if you relate to this, but does it ever happen where you will hear information about something from one person, and then like the next day there'll be information about something from a different person and a different person and a different person, this YouTuber, and then someone uploads it on Instagram and it's like, what? Why is everyone talking about the same thing this week? It's so weird. So this happened to me with the whole menstrual cycle thing, and I was fascinated by what I was learning in terms of, for one, back in the day, I learned that women used to get together on their moon time, as they call it, because I don't think people are even calling it periods anymore. It's moon time now, which I love. I love calling it moon time. People would get together on their moon, and actually I think women used to be all like cycled up together. So everyone would come on at the same time, and it would be around the new moon, I think it's the new moon, and they would all get together and they would all be together, and they would do like rituals, and they would rest, and they would look after themselves, and they would listen to their bodies. And now we're all so out of sync with each other and the moon because of different things like technology. I don't know exactly, remember all the reasons why, but we've become so out of touch with our periods. And when I started learning about this, I was like, do you know what? That is so true. And then I started learning more about the fact that in society, it's kind of like, well, not kind of, it's basically expected that women should be able to live and work on the same clock as men, which makes no sense if you think about it, because we have our menstrual cycle. We go through a whole, as Teal Swan says, a whole year's season every single month. So we've got the winter, the spring, the summer and the autumn all in 1 month. And this happens to us 12 times a year. But yet we're expected to work exactly the same as men. And I was actually having a conversation about this to my boyfriend the other day, because I got really upset about it, because I was like, how am I meant to work when I'm like so tired and my body is clearly telling me to rest? Like I I am like dedicated to creating a life now where I can rest on my period, if at least the first day, because that's normally when I feel the most tired. And I find that when I have been able to like go inwards on those days, I get so many intuitive, like powerful messages from my body, which is why I am obviously feeling so called to make this video, is because I really would love to see some sort of change created on the earth to do with the cycles of the feminine and the female body, because I think it's something that really, really needs to shift. And I don't know how, and I don't know the answers, but it's definitely something that I feel really passionately about. So when I started looking into my menstrual cycle and really tracking each week and looking into how I felt each week, I realised that there was like crazy patterns. And usually the week before I come on my period is when I start to feel a little bit more, I start to notice the negative emotions towards things that in my life are not aligned. And this, you know, sometimes can be passed off in life as, oh, you're just on your period. You feel like that just because you're on your period. And then we don't actually look any further into the things that are coming up. But what I invite people to really think about, what I invite people to look at it, how I invite people to look at it instead, is that we go through these cycles and whatever is coming up is meant to be looked at in that moment. So if you're having the same things come up every month, that's not going to change. Or, I mean, in my experience, that doesn't change unless you actually deal with it. So for example, let's say every month it's coming up that you really hate your job, or there's something about what you're doing in your career or in your job that you really don't like. Until you look at that and figure out a way to move forwards in a way that is more in alignment with your vision for yourself and your values, that's likely to keep coming up every month. Similarly, the same, say, I'll give you another example. It could be a similar emotion comes up. So for me, it was very confronting when I got into a relationship and I hadn't been in like a relationship like this, where obviously this was a new person as well. So I hadn't really been in a serious relationship in a long time. And I started to notice that when I would come on my period, at the very start of our relationship, I would get really like needy, and I was almost confronted with all of these insecurities that I did not know were still there, but they were being triggered. And I saw it as like a really good opportunity. It was really difficult during that day, like them days I was like feeling so sad and needy and like, oh, I just want love. And then I felt like anything that my boyfriend was doing, it just wasn't working. And then I realised after reflecting on it that I was feeling really insecure inside. Someone's calling me. Let me just pause that. And so that was an opportunity for me to look at what was coming up and heal it, because once I realised that I was really feeling like that, like the insecurity was just taking over, I was able to deal with it, and then it didn't come up the next month. Or like it did come up, but I was able to be aware that what was actually coming up was that thing, and it wasn't, because sometimes when we get super emotional, it's like hard to see clear until maybe a few days after. And that's one thing I always make sure to remind myself as well. It's like when I'm deep in it, I'm like, right, this is going to pass. Don't try and analyze everything too much right now. Just feel it. And then once you've calmed down and you feel a bit better, then the analysis usually just like happens naturally for me when I look back. And I'm like, wow, this is what I learned. So yeah, that's something that I've really learned with like before the week of your period. So they say that for different women might relate to different seasons for different weeks. So for me, I see the first week of my period, so like the week that I'm actually bleeding, I see that as like a winter. So that is a time when we're like going inwards, resting as much as you can. Obviously, if you've got a full-time job, this is the thing that I'm seeing with the world that I'd like to shift, really, or at least create companies where they're a little bit more, or a lot more conscious of the women's cycle. Again, I don't know how that's going to work. I don't have the answers, but we'll hopefully, manifest it. Not hopefully, but we are thinking about it and getting creative about it. What I've learned is that during that week it's good to go inwards, rest, listen to your body, and then the next week is time for like new projects. So the spring, when it's like when things are, all the ideas and the things that you got during your first week on your period, you can start putting them into practice. So this is going to vary obviously as well. So depending on how you feel and depending on how you've looked after yourself, what you've been eating, your body is going to tell you what it needs. One time I was getting really bad pains, and this was before me and my boyfriend had started looking into like herbal medicine, and I was in so much pain, and I sat there in bed all day, and I was just like listening to my womb as it was like in so much pain, and I was like adamant that I wasn't going to take any painkillers because I don't really like to take too much painkillers. I also think that it really teaches you a lot when you are able to sit with the pain. It helps you to like sit with uncomfortable situations, but period pain is one thing I really don't like. So I sat with the pain and I asked my womb, what is it that you're trying to tell me right now? And I listen, and out from my intuition I have a message that says look into herbal medicine. So that's when I started looking into it, and I was looking into all these herbal medicines and that were good for menstrual cycle and uterus health, womb health, and I got my herbs, started drinking them. The next month was so much better. I had so much less pain. And then the next month I was really bad at taking my herbs and wasn't really on it at all. And then my period pain was really bad again. So I'm thinking, obviously, I need to keep trying and keep on it with that to see what herbs are really working. But some herbs that you might want to try: raspberry leaf, wild yam. They're two that I remember that are meant to be good for menstrual cycle health. But obviously do your own research, look into it, how much you want to take and everything. But yeah, so this is a topic that I'm probably going to be going into a lot more. I love talking about intuition. I love talking about going inwards and learning and becoming aware of our unique differences and things like that. So love this topic. If you have any questions about anything I was talking about, anywhere that you'd like me to go off onto more of a tangent, make more videos on, let me know if you found it interesting. Let me know about your menstrual cycle experiences as well, and how maybe tracking your menstrual cycle has impacted your life. There's so much more I want to talk about, I just realised, in terms of like rituals and other things, but I won't go into it now. I'll make another video on rituals that I like to do, and I will see you in the next video, guys. So have a lovely, lovely week. Have a lovely day, week, month, menstrual cycle, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Ooh, I'm about to dive in.